Not okay. I can't get over it. The clip. America will fall. It will get what it deserves. We tolerate this behavior in our borders. We are not a serious country. Could you imagine? Could you imagine going to China and saying, China will fall? Like, they would kick you out. They would arrest you. Could you imagine going to the United Arab Emirates or going to Russia or Israel? Could you imagine going to Israel and saying, Israel will fall because it doesn't love Jesus? They would arrest you. It's insane. But the West, and by that I mean Europeans and Christians, do not have the self-confidence to stand up to this. We need to, and the young men need to. The young men need to take personal offense. Those are fighting words. They need to take personal offense. When Josh Hammer, with that ugly face, that ugly, disgusting face, he's an ugly man, inside and out. When Josh Hammer goes and says Europeans have Jew hate in their DNA, you can never be friends with a person like that ever in your life. Someone says you have Jew hatred in your DNA as a white person, you can never be friends with a person like that. Get as far away from people like that as possible. Those people are your enemy. If they think that your genetics make you hate them, then they want to hurt you in your life. Oh, and I'm the evil one, right? They say that I'm the bad guy, but no one wants to talk about that. You know, the Atlantic doesn't want to talk about that. The New York Times doesn't want to talk about that. The Guardian doesn't want to. The Free Press doesn't want to talk about that. He said he loves Hitler. So what? Hitler is dead. You hate America today, and you live here. And as long as people are talking past that, I mean, that's why I'm popular. But anyway.
Nick makes a very good point there, and maybe it sounds a little bit rude, but I actually understand what he is trying to say. It is time for the Europeans, for the Americans, almost everyone in the West to be proud again. You can be a proud American. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want this country to succeed, you're actually a good guy. You're my ally. It should, like I say this multiple times, it's America first and it's Americans first. It's like the time is over that like Americans, but also Europeans, that they have to feel ashamed about themselves. We are one of the greatest nations. There's nothing wrong with being proud about your own country, about your own people. There's nothing wrong with that. Everywhere in the world you see people, they are proud about who they are, but only in the West people are not proud anymore. And this is such a shame. And this is also, I really want to make this very clear. It's okay to be a proud American. There's nothing wrong with it. I wish we were more proud. So let me make this once and for all, one time so clear. America first and Americans first, and if you agree with this, put a 1 in the comments. There's nothing wrong with that, and believe me, there's more people like us who just want to be proud and who just want our nation to succeed. Is there anything wrong with that? No. So again, if people tell you that it's not okay to be a proud American, they are wrong and you are right. You should be proud at all times, and yes, I'm saying this as a legal migrant myself. Go America.
We're going to move on. We're going to get into our featured story tonight, which is this resolution by Chuck Schumer. And this is a story in the New York Times about it. Today, the Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, the top Democrat in the U.S. Senate, who's a Jew from New York, announced a resolution specifically condemning me for anti-Semitism and white supremacy. This is the story. I'll read it. It says, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced on Thursday that he will introduce a resolution condemning neo-Nazi influencer Nick Fuentes and his white supremacist views after President Trump declined to condemn him or Tucker Carlson's platforming of him. Schumer announced the move while criticizing Trump's comments from over the weekend, in which the president noted that Carlson has said good things about him over the years and defended his decision to host Fuentes on his show. After calling Trump's remarks disgusting, Schumer warned that anti-Semitism in the United States has reached a dangerous tipping point. Jewish Americans are facing threats, harassment, and violence at levels we have not seen in generations. He said for Donald Trump to continue to excuse and protect the spread of Nick Fuentes' ideology confirms what many of us have long said: white supremacy and anti-Semitism are taking deep roots within the Republican Party. Just as we saw from the leaked text of the Young Republicans and administration officials, the Nick Fuentes saga on the right reveals that anti-Semitism and white supremacy have been growing with disturbing currency within the right wing. Schumer said his resolution will be focused on rejecting Nick Fuentes and his views, condemning Carlson's platforming of hate and anti-Semitism and white supremacy wherever and whenever it occurs. He said, "I hope my Republican colleagues will join me in this effort and co-sponsor this resolution calling out anti-Semitism should not be a partisan issue." He said, "When we refuse to condemn anti-Semitism, we stay silent and fail to reject anti-Semitic rhetoric. When we normalize hateful figures spewing disgusting anti-Semitism, this is when anti-Semitism spreads." This is the Senate Minority Leader. This is the United States Senate. How many times? Take a shot every time he says anti-Semitism. Is this all the government actually cares about? Because that's certainly how it seems. It seems like Republicans and Democrats, the only thing that they care about is that. On both sides. Like Chuck Schumer is right. It isn't a partisan issue. It's both parties. The GOP is in power. And currently it is a priority for the Department of State, for the Department of Health and Human Services, for the Department of Homeland Security, for the Department of Labor, for all of the federal departments and agencies to fight anti-Semitism. Department of State is going through all of the visas. Every visa holder in the United States is having their social media reviewed for anti-Semitic content.
And this just shows you the state of our country, and it's actually insane, right? They are busy with things like this. Meanwhile, so many Americans can't get help, or we have so many problems in our country where they don't have the resources for, where they don't have the manpower for to solve these problems, but they can do things like this. Isn't this kind of sad? I mean, like, we have more important work to do. Many people, they need help. They are like struggling. They are like they really need help at this point. But there's no money for them. No one can help them. But meanwhile, we have so many people busy with small nonsense things like this. This is actually kind of insane. And this shows you a little bit the sad state of our country at this point. But again, this is how I feel about it. Because, of course, maybe this is important. But I feel like there are way more important things we should focus on at this point, because people are struggling. We should help those people instead of being busy with nonsense like this. But again, my opinion, if you agree with me, please share it in the comments. But I believe we have a lot more important work to do instead of this.
The Secretary of Health and Human Services declared anti-Semitism a public health crisis. The DHS Secretary has been firing people who criticize Israel in a memo. That's all they care about. And in the U.S. Senate, the Democrats are passing a resolution condemning anti-Semitism. Let me ask you this. When Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck by a gunman whose identity we may not even know, was there any kind of outcry condemning the violence from Chuck Schumer then? Did we get resolutions in the Senate? Did we get a mobilization of the departments and agencies? Or did people basically just forget and move on immediately? How about the war in Gaza? You've got an actual genocide, an actual ethnic cleansing. And by the way, that's government officials talking about it. You've got their finance minister and national security minister in Israel saying, we're going to kill them all. We're going to deport every last Palestinian. We're going to take their land. We're going to kill them all. You've got members of the U.S. Congress like Randy Fine that have said the same thing. Kill them all. There's no innocent Palestinians. Think about the things in the country that are tolerated. The things that we tolerate. The political violence from the left, the mass migration, illegal and legal, the genocide in Gaza, which we support, the kind of hateful rhetoric we see from Republicans about Palestinians, about a genocide that we're paying for. And this is what the Senate is getting behind. And by the way, think about even the non-social issues, like, for example, I don't know how nobody can afford a house. So let's see, Republicans and Democrats can't agree on Obamacare subsidies. Chuck Schumer can't deliver on that. Chuck Schumer shut down the United States Senate for 45 days, and in the end couldn't even get the healthcare subsidies. Where's the Obamacare subsidies? So not only will the Democrats not condemn a genocide in Gaza, they can't even get their own people health care. So what is the purpose of the Democratic Party? It's the same story on the right. The right wing cannot deliver mass deportations. The right wing cannot deliver a protectionist agenda that creates jobs, but it can condemn anti-Semitism. Is that all the government can do? I would rebut and I would retort to Chuck Schumer. I would say, hey man, why don't you get us the Obamacare subsidies? Why don't you get our people the Obamacare subsidies? Isn't that what your constituents elected you to do? Chuck, Senator, why don't you spend a little less time condemning a live streamer, and why don't you get your constituents their Obamacare subsidies that you promised? 45-day government shutdown. You had government workers furloughed, risk losing their jobs, flights delayed and disrupted, threatened with a loss of food assistance and other benefits. And in the end, you didn't even deliver. You didn't even get the Obamacare subsidies, something that, by the way, I support.
And again, surprise, surprise, but Nick is spot on with this. Like, seriously, this is also what I just tried to say in broken English. Excuse me for that. But what I tried to say is that all these government officials, they are busy with like minority or small problems in our country. Meanwhile, the big problems, they don't have time for this. They are not even looking towards this. Meanwhile, so many people, they voted to get help from the government on these big problems, not on these small problems. They're constantly busy with like the small, unimportant problems. They're so busy with this. And meanwhile, they don't solve the actual problems in our country. The housing, like the crazy prices for groceries. I don't even have to explain you. Everything is crazy expensive these days. The rent, the insurance, the houses, the gas, the groceries. Name something what is not crazy expensive now. The mass immigration is going on. Like the Epstein files are still not released. Or maybe now this week we will find out. But what I try to say is we have so many actually things where people care about, where people voted for. They're not busy with this, and they're busy with like these small little things like this. This is the reason why people are getting annoyed. This is the reason why people lose hope in like politics, because the politics are not actually listening to the people. Meanwhile, they should listen to us. Like they work for us. Like we vote, we pay their salary with our tax money. They work for us. They should listen to us. Like we have so many problems. Many Americans are struggling. It's so sad to see. Like seriously, I can see it day after day. The more people are struggling, it's actually so sad, the state of this country right now. And then they are busy with all these small things like this. This is why people are getting mad. This is why people like to listen to Nick Fuentes, because he is actually talking about these things where not many people talk about, but where many people care about.
But you are going to propose a bill condemning anti-Semitism. To this day, Israel bombs Lebanon, Gaza, the West Bank with impunity. They kill journalists. They kill international observers, peacekeepers, innocent people in violation of all their various ceasefire agreements. No condemnation of that from the Democrats, from the U.S. Senate. So what is it that you actually stand for ultimately? Because it seems like a lot of hypocrisy. Seems like a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of lies, false promises. And it's like that on both sides. This is why I said the other night, why don't we have populist Republicans and populist Democrats that just solve problems? Just solve problems for Americans. And by the way, I am willing to compromise with the left, 100%. I'll work with anybody. I saw the track AIPAC people. It's some progressive woman and some progressive gay guy. I'd work with them on shutting down AIPAC in a second, in a heartbeat. Same goes for Anna Kaspari and Cenk Uygur. They were in favor of democratic populism. They want to deliver healthcare. They want to deliver education. I would work with them in a second. In a second. A Zohran Mamdani all day. That's why I said we need to rethink and realign our politics based on what actually matters and what matters to us. We have to drop the wokeness, arguably on both sides. We have to drop the wokeness on the left, which is anti-white and obsessed with immigration, basically throwing the borders open. They have to get rid of the tone policing and language policing. And on the right, we can work together with the left. Maybe we have to let go of some of the cruelty and abuse directed at some of the marginalized communities on their side. It's true. There are marginal people. What else would you call a racial minority other than a marginal person? I'm okay with living in a society where we, as long as we close the borders, we can take care of everybody in the country. We can figure out how we can all get along together. As long as there is a consensus agreement that we can put America first. But what I see from the Trump administration and from the Democrats is neither of them are willing or able to actually do anything for people, for the actual people. And this is the evidence. Chuck Schumer opens the government with no Obamacare subsidies after they funded the Trump government earlier in the year without a fight at all. But now he wants to put forward a bill on anti-Semitism. Really? So which constituents are you working for exactly? You can't condemn the genocide in Gaza on behalf of your many Muslim or progressive constituents or even Jewish constituents that have a problem with it. You can't deliver on Obamacare, but you're obsessed with it's anti-Semitism, white supremacy, That's a grift. That's just a race hustle. You're just a race hustler. That's just a load of crap. You can take your resolution and shove it up your ass. No one cares. And the same is true on the Trump administration. What are they doing? The Trump administration has deported 300,000 illegal immigrants to date. There's nothing massive about that. 10 million came here in 4 years. They deported 300,000 in a year. The Trump administration extended the corporate tax cut. No tax cut for the middle class, no infrastructure bill, no jobs, nothing. 50,000 jobs down in October. They won't even release the data. But they're subsidizing AI and eradicating regulations for AI and cutting the corporate taxes. And they're giving contracts to little tech, all their Silicon Valley donors.
Exactly, and this is why so many people are disappointed in Donald Trump, because it turns out that he is not actually America first. He doesn't care about the average Americans like you and me. No, he cares about his donors. He cares about almost every foreign country, every foreign conflict, but not about our country, not about you and me. And this is actually so sad. But I don't want to make this a Trump hating video because I read your comments. I said this multiple times. I have nothing against Trump, or actually I do at this point. He is not America first, and he is literally lying straight into our face. Same as with the Epstein files. But that's another discussion. That's not for now. What I want to say, and this is the first time where I actually agree with Nick as well, that the left and the right can find each other on this point, that we both want, if you're left or if you're right, you want problems in this country to be solved. You want America first. This is this is the first time that the leftists and the right, they can literally be together on this point, that we just want our country to succeed. We just want problems in our nation to be solved. And people are not doing this. And this is why people are so tired. Because literally what Nick just said, solving all these small problems, busy with all these unimportant things. But the real problems here, we cannot solve this. We don't have the time for this. We don't have the resources for this. Meanwhile, we send billions of taxpayers' money to all these other countries to support foreign wars, to support foreign conflicts. Meanwhile, we could spend this money, this taxpayer money, to instead of dropping bombs in other countries, we can build this country, if you get what I mean. And this is the thing where probably the leftists and the right, people on the right, agree on, that it's time now to make America great again. And I'm not talking about the slogan of Donald Trump, because the whole MAGA movement is dead at this point almost, but I hope you get the point. It's very important that we put ourselves first now, like we should care about our nation, we should solve the problems in this country, and then hopefully we can have a brighter future, we can have a good future for our children, because believe me, we have to solve some problems. Otherwise, I don't even know how the future is gonna look like if we are not gonna solve these problems, because it's very important. Now it's almost we should solve these problems, and I just told about like these problems we have: the housing, the prices, the mass immigration, everything what's going on. Also in the whole in the political structure, I have some problems. What I see, I don't trust like these big donors of all these politicians. I feel like the politicians work for them almost, but that's another discussion as well. I hope you get the point, and I hope you agree with me. Even if you disagree with me, like feel free to debate me. I'm not a hypocrite, but if you are America first, please share it in the comments, because I want to make like a movement with America first people, and I believe there are so many people who actually want an America first policy now. We are tired of like doing all these other things instead of like putting our own country first, and this is very important. America first and America's first always. Let's unite.
Policing anti-Semitism. And again, from both sides, you're getting a lot of talk. You're getting Stephen Miller LARPing his Goebbels, talking about hippie boomers and, you are nothing. We don't like the third world. And on the left, you've got Chuck Schumer bitching about white supremacy and anti-Semitism. They get nothing done for anybody. Neither the left nor the right wins. The populists on both sides get nothing. The people are not being helped in any way. And yet, the one thing they are able to come together and work on is furnishing Israel with missiles, condemning anti-Semitism, funding Holocaust museums, endless stuff like that. So this is where we need to realign the politics. I'm sorry, but I don't see myself as aligned, actually, with these guys on the right that are obsessed with Israel. And I think that a lot of the populists on the left don't see themselves as aligned with the pro-Israel people in the Democratic Party. But we're supposed to all fight each other on their behalf. Stephen Miller is supposed to send me out to fight for this Trump administration that does nothing. And Chuck Schumer and their crowd, Alex Soros, and they're supposed to send their people out to fight us while doing nothing. Something's got to change. Are people ready? Are people ready, and do they have the imagination while doing nothing? Something's got to change. Are people ready? Are people ready, and do they have the imagination, and are they willing to go there to actually create something unprecedented? That's the question. Or are we just going to play the same game every 4 years? So that's Chuck Schumer. I would say to Chuck, spend a little less time talking about non-existent white supremacy. Get us Obamacare, bro. You want to shut down the Senate? Why don't you do it for a good cause? You want to shut down the Senate? You want to flex your muscle in the Senate? Why don't you use it to actually get something done? Give us infrastructure. Give us health care. Fix the affordability problem. Maybe stop the support for Israel and their genocide in Gaza, which, by the way, they still intend to do. They just approved the largest expansion of the settlements in the West Bank. So that's that. I want to move on, though. I want to get into now the Trump administration side of things.
Also a very interesting topic, but we will leave this for another video. But actually, how can you disagree with Nick if you're actually America first? This is a very important question, and I feel like it's okay to ask this question, because like I said, the left and the right, I think we both agree on the fact that we just want our own nation now to succeed. We want to solve problems here, and instead of being busy with all these other things, and a Chuck Schumer who is flexing his muscles because he wants to shut down the government because of small things like this. Dude, you should solve the real problems. Just like Nick said, I'm not even agreeing with Obamacare, but that's also another discussion. But things like that, the healthcare, like help us with that instead of like all these other things. Like, are you crazy, bro? You should care about the average Americans, about me, about the people who are watching, not about like what all these small things. What is not really important. There's people struggling. There's people like suffering in this country. Seriously, I see so many people who can barely like survive at this point. This is not what should happen in the United States, if you ask me. But again, maybe I'm wrong on this. Like, I'm very curious about your opinion on this whole topic. Like, do you agree with Nick? Do you disagree with Nick? Please share your opinion in the comments. Very important to say. I read all comments, so I'm very curious about your opinion. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you really like this video, consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. Last but not least, I want to add a small thing. I made some amazing America First merch, some hoodies, some sweaters, even a beanie, a cap. You can take a look. I will tag the link in my bio as well. You can see the product catalog on my channel. Please take a look if you want to support me, support the channel. I would really appreciate it. And then last but not least, guys, I wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!